Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Sunday evening frequency meditation. I hope we all had a super week. Beautiful here in Vancouver and on the islands. And as we just settle in here, just noticing you, where you are. Checking in, if you like, checking in on you in your body. And then just notice everything outside of your body, that other environment. And maybe you can notice also the cutoff between where you end and your environment begins, or where your environment ends and where you begin. It's a very distinct difference. So what I thought I'd do tonight is, I've never really spoken in full detail about how I work, what actually happens in this field when we're together, and if you like, when I begin transmitting. So I want to take this moment to do that for you. I like to, when I approach this subject, I always like to take mystique out of anything, if you like, spiritual. It's a mystique that it has kept us enslaved, not empowered. And the more I go on this journey, the more I see that it's much more mathematical systems, programs, equations, subquantum physics, than what I was not shown but taught earlier in my life. That version of spirituality for me was very emotional. It was based on beliefs, values, judgment, separateness, hierarchy, unattainable. So let's just take a deep breath in right now, just full and relaxed. Let yourself arrive again here completely. So as your awareness settles in the center of your sphere, that could be the size of a marble in the center of your brain. New people listening, if you go to my app, there's a lot of complimentary meditations on what the sphere is about and other terminology that might be new. So as we settle here, just observing, being centered in our sphere, know that what is happening here is not conceptual. So what I do is I anchor a living frequency architecture in real time. Everything only happens in real time. And then it's my transmission that moves, I feel like it's like a spiral. It draws Earth's current upwards into the spine, rotates into the pineal point, and then from there it radiates into your frequency field. And it's this exact movement is what synchronizes your system to its own pure blueprint. And this isn't through theory, but it's direct structure. So every part of this process is actually architectural. And anything I say here too also, I bring those concepts to a level where the human mind can understand it. So it's not completely accurate how it is in reference to physicality, emotions, communication. It's different, but we're not in that rule set here to understand it. So whatever I do, I always bring it to so that you'll be able to understand the concept from a human point of view. So if you like, with that in mind, when I'm in that space, it's my higher self speaks directly into your higher self. So it's not guidance, it's a resonance. It's a clean signal. Speaking to what you already are, by the way. And with each breath, your nervous system stabilizes. Your field reorganizes. And distortions dissolve through a process. And this is how the method works. Just notice in your spine right now. And the field that I hold is it's not me. It's nothing to do with Rob. So the field that I hold, it comes through an unbroken lineage. There's ancient geometries, indigenous earth wisdom, Zen paradox, Sufi clarity, and many, many more. All fused with modern understanding of frequency, neuroplasticity, multidimension coherence. So I'm not really teaching a system. That's why I don't have any opinions. Well, maybe some of you have picked up some of my opinions on certain things. But I'm not teaching something. I'm not for something or against something that has been already presented here in density to us, whether it's through a doctrine or a religion or a concept, science. Because those are details. Those are derivatives. I'm not teaching a system. I'm actually holding one continuously. And what that does, it lets every cell in your system begin to remember its original design. So again, let's take a breath in and really let your breath land again at the center. Feel a structure forming around you. It's not imagined, but it's activated. And then from this position, we're going to move into full transmission. So let's really start. Just wanted to give some background, but while we're doing that, your field is realigning. And just as a guidance, it's not what the mind thinks here, because the mind has a lot of programs. The mind has a lot of patterns. The mind is highly suspicious. Most people's minds are still in survival mode, so that blocks off any expansion to come to you, any new rule sets. And so what I would just suggest, try not to focus too much on what the mind is chattering about, and go deeper how you feel beneath the chatter. If you feel during this time a little calmer, more clarity, some aha moments coming in specifically just for you. So let's bring our awareness again to the center of our sphere. It's that quiet point behind the forehead, center in the brain. This is always the beginning. Every signal I send into the field starts from here. When I'm aware, I should say, when I'm conscious of it. And that's just practice. We don't always have to be with that clarity. So as we breathe, let's feel the movement begin. It flows downward from the sphere, through the throat, the heart, the belly, pelvis, and right dropping into the earth, core of the earth. And with this just simply happens. By putting our attention on it, on this movement, it happens to you, it happens for you. Frequency drops into density through movement. I think it was the Tao teaches. It flows It flows by nature, not effort. Water. If you have a leaky roof, flows. It's a movement. It always flows in the most efficient way towards the core of the earth. So we can be like that as well. So as we're in the core of the earth, then the current reverses, rising cleanly up through your spine, from the base to the heart, through the brainstem, and again returning to the sphere. And it's our sphere, if you like, it's our command center here. It's our neutral point, we're in neutrality. And it's a gateway to many, many, many other places without being distorted, without your filters influencing which door you wish to open. That's why I'm a big advocate on really getting the bases here, the foundation, super clear, super strong. And in fact, it's the only way. So let's do that again. Let's just drop in from our sphere, going down through our spine. And by the way, you can do this in a flash as well. Down to the Earth's frequencies, knowing that since it's part of density, we share that. We have access to Earth's frequencies, these pure frequencies. Perfectly precise. We bring it up right through our spine to our sphere, and we stay here centered. Ready for whatever may appear for us. And from this reconnection point, our frequency begins to radiate out into arm's length field. That's what I refer to as your frequency field. Roughly arm's length around you, side to side, front, back, up, down. This frequency field is not passive. You might be observing it as passive. You might be observing it fragmented. But your frequency field is very active, very dynamic. And it holds pre-dense instructions, which means it holds instructions before you enter this density, this human form. And the moment your coherence touches it, it begins to rearrange everything. People, timing, emotions, possibilities, outcomes, and of course, what we all are quite preoccupied with, material form. But this is an interactive process. That's why we're here. So what the field does is once you connect to it, the field then sends back feedback to you. You start to see clearly what your signal was. So you receive the awareness from the field to the sphere of what's in that field that is ultimately reflecting you here. And this is where we start to become aware. We change perspectives. We start to notice things about us that we didn't realize we had. We didn't maybe realize the degree of anxiety we have, that we were always in the future moment. We didn't realize that we start off great on things and we're super successful, but then we can never follow through and materialize it. And then it maybe will come through that, oh, perhaps there's self-sabotage programs. Abuse, the different forms of abuse, including self-abuse, we start to get awareness about. That's what your field does. It reflects back to you because now you're coherent. You're not off in another journey, distorted, performing. There's no clarity there. So as we do the movement, we're in alignment. We have clarity. Just breathing in and noticing your spine, your sphere, and your field. And then with this awareness, as we have free will, as part of this adventure is to be co-creating, we decide if we want to disconnect from those programs, or maybe there's some programs saying that, hey, why don't you bring in more abundance? Why don't you bring in more safe love? Why don't you bring in more people of frequencies that are more compatible with you than the old system that you're running? But we decide. And that's really the crucial part for us to do. Doing the movement, those codes, they've been revealed to us now. Anybody can do it, which makes sense. If it was very complicated, then it'd only be available for the few. But it's not, because there is no judgment on the other side. So that can be an automated process, just with some techniques, daily techniques. But then this is where we really exercise our free will, is how we want to edit ourselves at this blueprint level. And one would think, well, of course I'm going to get rid of everything that's bad for me, that doesn't serve me. Of course I'm going to bring in everything that's good for me. But there's distortions beneath distortions that we're not aware of, blind spots. We're not aware of sabotage programs. As mentioned before, the abuse programs, there's a whole host of them. So we're not aware enough, awakened enough, if you like, to make those decisions with clarity, sanity. And that is what we do here, and that is what you do on your own. We keep doing the movement. We keep receiving the awareness. And whatever resistance might be there, by being coherent and keep coming back to this alignment, you keep receiving more awareness until you get down to, oh, there's the resistance. That's why I'm not open to having someone come in my life with pure, unconditional love. That won't fulfill my abuse programs. And with the awareness, it's done. Taking a breath then. So the system, our system, as mentioned, when we receive this awareness, it either adjusts or it holds. If you can adjust, be free from whatever it is, that adjustment becomes the next signal. So this is the frequency loop in motion. And this is how I stabilize the field, not by teaching, but by holding this coherence. And others sync, not because of me, but because their system already knows the shape beneath the distortion. So let's take one steady breath into the spine, not to relax, but to anchor. The spine, I refer to it a lot, is the only structure in the body stable enough to carry these multi-dimensional instructions into density. When the spine is online, the loop runs clean. The signal's pure. And the feedback from the field is accurate. You receive it with accuracy. Just take note in your field right now, what might be appearing for you. No judgment, just observe it. So when the feedback's accurate and the signal's pure, from this position, there's nothing to heal, nothing to process. So everything is feedback. You're either in the correct location or repositioning. That's it. That's the dance we do here. And it's infinite in this density. And it's happening billions of times per second even without our awareness, because these micro shifts, these micro alignments aren't detectable. As your super intelligence taking care of that, just like your super intelligence is taking care of you, your heart beating right now, your cells rejuvenating, your hair is growing. So what we're focusing on here is mastering the structure, the architecture. Because also what happens, you keep moving to a different benchmark. So the feedback, the awareness is not focused anymore on what you need to release, how to come into a more prime position, how to be that next best version of yourself. That gets done. Then the awareness is all about expansion. Inner knowing about things that are not even in the rule set of the mass consciousness. Those questions aren't even available to ask. So now, from this anchored place, let the loop run again. Sphere to earth, earth to spine, spine to sphere, expanding frequency field. Let the field rearrange, not from effort, but from your own coherent speaking. Just as a note, the field always hears you. So from this place where we anchor, let's run the loop again. The sphere to the earth, through the spine, earth to spine, spine to sphere, letting your frequency field expand outward. With that, it rearranges, again, not from effort, but from your own coherence. Every time we put our awareness onto this movement and expand into the frequency field, the field hears you. It always hears you. And it relays to you. It conveys to you through a reflection of who you are here. What the programs that make you up. And what returns is exact. The external world does not lie. It mirrors your frequency with precision. This is why people who, if they get famous or super rich or whatever might happen, their frequency is not coherent with that. It destroys them. We see it over and over again. And this is how I know where I am, not from thought, but from reflection. And every reflection becomes a chance to reference again, even more accurately. And as we breathe in, we're just returning our awareness now to the center of our sphere. Feeling the breath rise, fall from that point. And the breath and the movement, as mentioned, they're not in sync with each other. They're very different technologies. So the movement is about the architectural frequency of you. And again, so the breath, that's our nervous system support. It's not a guide for the movement. So they don't need to sync. And often they shouldn't be synced because they're very different technologies. Movement follows spatial reference, not breath rhythm. Breath, besides the basic need, it follows a psychological need, not spatial mechanics. And actually forcing them to match can actually create resistance or confusion. So I know there's a lot of focus always on the breath, but sometimes it's just to notice the nuances in what you're doing. So we let this movement guide the structure and let the breath self-regulate naturally. So again, bringing our awareness to the center of our sphere. Feel that breath rise and fall from that point. Letting every inhalation strengthen your coherence, and every exhale transmit that clarity into your collective field. Perhaps place your hands lightly over your heart. That warmth that you feel, that's feedback. The heart is the amplifier of coherence. And in this stillness, you're participating in the same movement. Rumi spoke about this, the silent rotation of the beloved. So let the movement just settle, just stay here in full embodiment. It's not an ending. It's in alignment. The sphere is active, the spine's online, the field's responding. Once you get into the language of this, it's a pretty euphoric feeling. It's a pretty euphoric space to exist in with such precision, clarity, held so strong. There's no searching, there's no waiting. You're already transmitting your most coherent signal when you do this. Everybody's on a different position on this journey. What's guaranteed is wherever you are, by doing the movement, you'll be in the most coherent place. The field's listening. And your reality, moment by moment, it's already right now responding. So you see, this isn't a weekend, oh, I've awoken. This is a process that we, just like breathing, just like the heart beating, this is a process that we get, not have to, we get to do while we're here. And it's always expansive. We're always refining, but not from a point of fixing, healing, lack, from a point of what's next? How can I push this human envelope? So let your signal, your next signal, come from here. This is what shifts form. This is what organizes your life. This is what finally ends those distortions that you've been carrying for lifetimes. And you can see it's not by removal, but it's by alignment. So remain here as long as you like. The loop continues. That loop, sphere, earth, spine, sphere, field, form, feedback, sphere. You are already aligned. You are already inside the architecture. Stay here. Explore. Receive. And with that, I'll see you all next Sunday.